wife loves me so much, my husband, stop earning for a couple of months and see the difference. People get married assuming, imagining all that great romance and great, sacrifice and great, but the ground realities are different.
Hi, welcome to KCTalks. The topic that we are going to discuss with Dr. Sahadeva Swamiji is on divorce rates in India. Divorce rate in India is at its peak. We haven't seen a lot of divorces in India. Family institution is very important in India. It has kept our morals, ethics and values always high. But today's generation want to part ways for all the silly reasons and small reasons. So let us understand how do we solve this issue and also understand from Dr. Sahadeva Swami what is the reason for this heavy rate of divorces. Hare Krishna Swamiji.
Hare Krishna.
So a father generation, mother generation, we haven't, at least I haven't seen much separations, or I have not even seen one case in that generation.
Me too.
My generation, we have seen, a decent number, but it is not surprising. There were many reasons for that. The next generation, after 90s born kids, after 2000,
They are
very
not
high.
marrying itself now. Marriage is becoming redundant.
Okay. And we see this happening, so maybe in the past, maybe during your fatherly generation, that, that 70s born, 80s born people or 60s born, we were hearing it in newspapers that celebrities were getting divorced. And, I don't want to name famous superstars in Bollywood across South India. They had, 2 marriages. We heard of 3 marriages. They getting...
I think there were few celebrities.
No, what I mean to say is in the past, it was among the elite crowd. Elite crowd. But now we are seeing this everywhere. And what do you think is the reason, and how do we protect marriage as an institution?
Actually, last week I was in another interview. Then somebody commented that you are not qualified to talk because you yourself are not married,
Okay.
Then, I said, a cancer specialist doesn't have to undergo cancer disease,
Yeah.
A defense minister or defense official, they don't know how to cock a revolver, So though we are unmarried, still there is some observation, some studies are there. Everything you don't personally, even though you haven't been to China, you can talk about China, from what you study, what you research. So I would say that we observe the world. We are students of psychology. So this is a defining feature of our modern techno-urban civilization now.
Okay.
Shrinking of familial setup.
Okay.
People are going for this was called Century of the Self, the last century.
Okay.
By BBC, that they made documentaries. Everything is becoming more and more self-centered. So the reason you mentioned, this is important, you mentioned celebrities, right?
Yeah.
Now, you see, at least it shouldn't be happening in the celebrities realm of, in their world, it shouldn't be happening.
Why do you think so?
Because, let me tell you, money and resources, that's not a problem for them.
Yeah.
Because in family life, the money or the resources, that's what actually is the grease that oils the machine of marriage. Money.
Okay.
Money is very essential.
Hmm.
In our Vedic scriptures, even Sripad Sankara,
Hmm.
in his Bhaj Govindam, I'm not talking now, it's like 900 years back.
Hmm.
Cheen vitte ka parivara, suske neere ka kasara. Then he says again in another verse, Yavad vitto parjana sakta, tavan nich parivaro rakta.
What does all these mean, Swamiji?
That means that what is a value of a lake without water?
Hmm.
And what is the value of family life without plenty of or sufficient money?
Okay.
And he says, Yavad vitto parjana. As long as you earn money,
Hmm.
you will be people, your family members will care for you.
Hmm.
And once you exhaust or distribute or stop earning money, nobody will bother.
Hmm.
So those who are claiming, oh, my wife loves me so much, my husband stop earning for a couple of months
Hmm.
and see the difference.
This is said in Bhaja Govindam shlokas, is it?
Yes, and Bhaj Govindam, and of course all the scriptures that talk how the money is the grease that oils this machine. Marriage is. So my point is, celebrities don't have this problem.
At
They
least
have
monetarily.
sufficient monetarily
Monetary problem is not there.
not there. So that shouldn't be happening in their case. I suppose,
Hmm.
But again, it's a very complex issue.
Hmm.
Prabhupada, our founder, said, man is good, women is good.
Hmm.
When you bring them together,
That's not good.
not good, or that things get complicated,
Things get complicated. Okay.
Yes.
So, but celebrities, most of the celebrities that we see getting separated, parting ways, they both have great careers. They both are earning great. Maybe time is something that is playing a role here.
Yeah. You see, there are two things.
Hmm.
Time is a role in all the marriages.
Hmm.
What happens is, novelty wears off.
Hmm.
When you buy a new car, you are very enthusiastic,
Hmm.
but after a while, you don't care so much.
Hmm.
Anything material, that novelty, after a while, you don't bother.
Hmm.
So, if marriage is based on sense gratification,
Hmm.
naturally novelty will go off. Then how do you carry on?
Hmm.
If that is the foundation.
First of all, you need to explain us what is the sense gratification.
Sense gratification
it's a big word for us, complicated word.
Yeah, sense gratification is enjoying sensual enjoyment. That is, in married life, it happens by basically tongue, because there is cooking facility.
Hmm.
And there are pleasures of genitals.
Hmm.
So basically, in married life, one can have facilities for nice food, nice sex enjoyment.
Hmm.
So married life affords one some level of sense gratification.
Hmm.
But after a while, it's just the two people. No, as I said, the novelty wears off.
Hmm.
It's like sponge,
Hmm.
soaked in water.
Hmm.
You squeeze it,
Hmm.
water gushes out.
Hmm.
Again squeeze it, water comes out.
Hmm.
Again and again,
Hmm.
lesser and lesser water will come out.
Hmm.
There comes a point when however hard you squeeze, nothing comes out.
Hmm.
So senses also become tired.
Hmm.
And that is the problem.
Hmm.
So in case of celebrities, this is one problem. This applies to all the marriages.
Hmm.
In case of celebrities, their whole life is a drama. You see, they are they spend majority of time in drama or dramatic performances.
Hmm.
So for them, the distinction gets blurred, whether it's on screen or off screen,
Hmm.
So for them, marriage is another, probably, like a slide, another scene.
Hmm.
and they are just and what happens is, because ideal love that you find gets portrayed in cinema, actually one of the reasons for this in societies so much rates of divorce, as you mentioned today, is because of what the people see in cinema or social media or Instagram reels. They are vacationing in Maldives. They are going by their chartered, by their private jets. All this is for the screen. Real love doesn't exist. If I can explain that, but it just in Bollywood, Hollywood, and Tollywood, that's where the love you can find.
It's always.
But reality is very different. Any married person will know reality is very different.
So
people get married assuming, imagining all that great romance and great, sacrifice and great, but the ground realities are different. That's not how material world works.
So you mean to say all this so-called love that they are demonstrating on Instagram, Facebook, it's all a real love, not a real love.
Yeah, this is real love, not real love. And this is good for, good for cinema.
For audience to see.
Reality is very different.
Swamiji, you said a very valid point. When a marriage as an institution is based on sense gratification, that means pleasures. Either it is for good sex life, good enjoyment.
That's some emotional, let's say, fulfillment.
It doesn't sustain. If it is based on sensory enjoyments, it doesn't matter, it doesn't sustain.
Well, if it's just based on, by default, there is some sense enjoyment is given, provided by nature, because you got to take the trouble. So there is our senses are primed with some pleasuring nerves, so that you are induced to take on those hassles. Because running a family life is actually, they don't realize. You see, anybody wanting to get married should know. Running a family life is harder than running a country.
Why do you say so?
Why I say so, you have to Google up. And reporter asking, President Obama is sitting and his wife is sitting. The reporter asks that in the beginning of presidency, you didn't have, your hair were black. Now we see so many gray hair. So definitely running the most powerful country in the world must be very stressful. Then Mrs. Obama interrupts, sorry, excuse me, that's not a fact. Running a country is not a problem. But managing the two daughters is what is Mr. President is graying. And every time, what's daughter's name? Sasha or whatever, Mala. She dresses up and then the president, forgets about Iraq problem, Afghanistan. His face drops, For him, managing Iraq, Afghanistan, he just has to sign an order. Okay, 10,000 people die. That's a different thing. So people enter family life with all kinds of fancy ideas they see in cinema. But it is actually more difficult than running a country.
Very, very interesting point. So there has to be some training to all these people before entering marriage as an institution.
That is the whole thing, that there is no understanding that how this world works. Like you want to drive, you see in the film how nice people are drive, but reality is so much of traffic, honking, pollution, and cursing happens on the road. Got to be prepared for that.
So marriage is a bigger responsibility.
Then, so that is what people they don't, and they don't understand. This is the biggest legal decision of your life, more important than buying a property. Because there are so many now legalities are involved. One can legally, a life can be destroyed today. For There are cases running last 25 years, I know. 20 years, I know.
But nobody sees this as a parameter for getting married. They just fall in love. Everything is rosy. Then all the cinemas that they have seen on screen reflect in their life.
You see, there is a Sanskrit verse that the girl, she is seeking beauty. The mother of the girl, she is looking at the wealth. The father of the girl, he is looking at the qualification of the boy. But all other relatives are looking at the fun they're going to have in the marriage and the feast they're going to enjoy in the marriage or the gifts they're going to receive. Yes. There is a verse like that. You know, so Rupam Ikshanti Bharya and Dhanam Ikshanti Mahat, like that anyway. So point is, everybody is just, the imaginations are running wild. And then the reality hits. Whole life as child, we saw on cinema, on, television, and the end was like a happily they married, and, that's how the Kishore Kumar and blah, 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 and Amitabh. And then the end is the cinema ends and they happily, they drive away,
And it is written, happy ever after.
Happily living, but the reality is that's where cinema starts. After marriage is the real cinema, that's they don't show. So this has done a great harm. And there should be really a think tanks, there should be training, there should be research, and there must that why in previous generation India, in our Indian language, or let's say Sanskrit or Hindi, there is no word as divorce. In India, there is no word as
Hindi
divorce.
में क्या बोलते हैं? What do you call divorce?
There is no word at all. Talak is the word, but talak is not from our any Indian language. Because there were no divorces, so that the word does not exist.
So once you are married,
you are married for life.
So you're going to go to grave after that.
Yes. Like, for example, the word ghee does not exist in Western countries' vocabulary.
Clarified butter.
Now they made it clarified butter. It's like railway. You ask rail in Hindi, Loha Pathagamini,
Nobody understands it.
So like that, they invented the word because there is no clarified butter, did not exist in their culture. So they didn't have word for it. So like that, we didn't have divorces in our culture, so there is no word for it. Because this was considered a sacred duty. Marriage was considered sacred. I'll tell you, even today, why do you get married? Where do you get married?
Where do I get married?
People get married generally.
Where do people get married?
In a temple.
Temple. 5-star hotels.
5-star hotel. But there will be a mandapam.
Yeah.
There will be a priest.
Yes.
There will be a fire sacrifice.
Yeah.
And before and after marriage, actually they are supposed to go to temple.
Yeah.
So traditional system is actually, you see, Christians' marriages are held in churches.
Yes.
Or they visit whatever.
No, maximum of them.
Church is the father officiates. So this is a sacred bond based on sacred principles. Did you hear any dog, cat, monkey, donkey getting married?
No.
But they have sex.
Yeah.
They have progeny.
Yeah.
Reproduction.
Yes.
But why there is no marriage? Because they don't need to. And human beings, there is institution of marriage. Even in aborigines, the most backward society, some sort of marriage exists in human beings.
Yeah. Tribal communities have marriages, yes.
Yes. Why? Because there is some purpose to it.
And what is that purpose? If it is not for enjoyment, then what is that?
Okay, if you come to Vedic culture, the purpose was service to society, service to forefathers, service to my own family, service to previous generation and future generations.
Why should I serve?
Let me tell you, putrarthe kriyate bharya putra pinda prayojanam.
Okay.
That a wife and a husband, they unite in matrimonial bond for the sake of creating a son or a progeny for pinda prayojanam, to continue the family lineage and perform household duties, because householders have to maintain other 3 ashrams like brahmacharis, vanaprastha, sannyas. All 3 are actually fed, or alms are given by the householders. And householders are required to take care of society. They are earning money. And householders are actually, a householder has to be concerned whether a lizard is hungry or ant is hungry or not. And I have seen that. Householders doing that.
I'm not able.
And householder has to, before honoring his lunch, he has to go out and see if anybody hungry. He has to call out. If there is nobody, then he should sit. These are all were duties, not just you get married, go for honeymoon and have some fun. And when the fun is over, then good tata, goodbye. That's not family life.
But the point is, why service? We have not told of service. I have never heard all these things that you're telling us now. Why should I? Where am I in this? I'm always
because
being. When will I?
Because you owe, he owes, she owes. We all owe our existence to service.
Is it?
Yeah,
not to be served?
Okay. When you were born, there's somebody who served you.
Mother served me.
Mother served you. You just can't pay somebody and they can serve you. No. A child is brought up with some love. Not just you pay some nurse and no, it doesn't work that way. He served you. All these inventions we are enjoying today, because some people worked hard for it. All the knowledge they compiled, knowledge they invented. Then all these animals around, nature around is serving you, So this world runs on this principle of service. And where there is love, there will be service. You see, anybody you ask, he may be prime minister, what do you do? He says, I am serving nation. A man is serving, okay, I am serving my family,
But I thought it's just a vocabulary, a dramatization of saying, but I didn't. They really mean that?
Now they may not be meaning it, or that's what at least the word term exists.
The police says I'm a public servant, but, but
so
does he really mean that?
That is true. But point is, earlier, the ideal, we are talking ideal.
Okay.
So marriage was based on, as a sacred service and based on principle of sacrifice.
Who should sacrifice?
So this was both the parties.
Okay.
That marriage means adjustment.
Okay.
And there will be, even if you keep 2 parts together, there will be some clunking or whatever you call it. There will be noise. So people, they adjusted. They sacrificed. Some inconvenience, you got to tolerate it. And for a higher cause. You tolerate. The word is based on tolerance. Okay, let me tell you now, service you are talking. Okay. We are able to talk here in this city, right?
Yes.
Why? Because some people up there in the icy mountains of Siachen and Kargil and, Ladakh ranges at -40, -50, they are stationed there. So we are able to talk here.
Yes.
So some people are actually sacrificing for a higher cause. So there is always, the world will stop if that service spirit stops, That same gentleman can earn money, something, maybe more or less. But there is a passion. There is always a passion. So marriages were on higher principle. That's my point,
But I think all what you told us now makes no sense to the current generation. Because first of all, service is not something which they have been told right from the school. I am here to make money, have a great career, marry a beautiful girl, and stay happy. That is what is being told to us. And you are now telling about big words called service, big words called sacrifice. Okay, I'll ask you a practical question. So you spoke about novelty. So people get bored. I'm used to you. You're my friend for a year. I'm really bored of you. Now I need something new. This is the biggest problem in marriage of today. So how do we get rid of this boredom in marriage? How marriage is always excited?
Problem is we have learned to become excited, or we are not actually getting used to boredom. Actually, boredom, now what happens, I tell you, any child who is making a noise, is crying, we give him or her a self mobile. Now we are training them to not tolerate boredom. So therefore we will not have anymore, I tell you, those who are brought up, those who cannot sit with themselves for 10 minutes. A whole generation, you will not end up with inventors, scientists, poets, philosophers, artists. Because you need boredom in life. You need to tolerate boredom. You should be able to be happy with the way you are without needing these lifeless gadgets, or without need to scrolling always. So married life, like any other thing, novelty wears off. Okay, fine. Now, how you remain inspired? That's your question. When you have a higher principles in life, when you know the purpose of life, as they say, a family that prays actually stays together.
That's a Christian.
Anything, praying is not Christian only. All religion, every religion is about praying. So, okay, you are a Christian, you pray as a Christian. Hindu.
That's a beautiful point. A family who prays together stays together. That means God is the center of the family.
And I am not just saying this. There are dozens and dozens of research paper on this. Families which have some religious activity, spiritual activity going on, and the families which have atheistic temperament. Now there have been research published in respected journals that they are more stable. Religious upbringing, I'm not talking of fanatical, but genuine religious or spiritual sentiments. That's what I am talking. So the thing is, and I tell you, the modern generation, the problem is, when you mentioned the modern generation, when you deal with machines are lifeless. Every time you press enter, machine behavior will behave in the exact same way. And the people don't. So that's what is the different. And let me tell you, the emotional content in people. The word is so subtle, I tell you. Emotional content. What you eat. You are what you eat. You agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
You are what you eat. The food a farmer used to grow with some love. He's sown, then he's waiting for it to sprout, and then harvested with hand, Even today, the handmade things are expensive. You know that, right?
Yes.
They write handmade. Artisan product, because there is love there.
Yeah.
Machine made. So there was love. Now that love gets invested, that aura gets, that feelings get invested. And then the harvesting, then the cooking mother will do. And then, cooked with love, served with love, harvested with love. There's emotion in it. Today machines are harvesters and tractors, and you are ordering on, this Zomato and all that, and nowhere in that food there is a content of love. Neither it has been cooked with attention. What is the difference? Nice hotel, in everywhere you can eat, but mothers, there used to be. Now mothers don't know how to cook, so that's a different thing. But those who have eaten mothers, there was nothing that compared to mother's food because there was love in it. So milk was supposed to be, milk. Milk has emotional content, not this dairy milk, which is a white liquid beef or white blood. Because the cow, especially cow, all animals, they are very affectionate to their wards. So when out of affection, that milk, that when you drink that milk, that imbues us with emotions. So society had some emotional content. Now we are biological machines, We are two-legged robots, with a skin, blood and bones. So then what happens? That's carried forward in marital bond. Actually now marriage itself is becoming history now. See, nobody talks of marriage. Young generation, they are happy, they have got a job, they have got living. They may cohabit maximum. They may date. So the institution of marriage itself is, is becoming facing the threat of extinction. So times are, that is what predicted. Swikaram eva duvaya, 5,000 years back. All these things are predicted,
My question is, you made a lot of sense to me that if they are not responsible in marriage as an institution for each other, will they be a responsible citizens, civilians?
That's a very good question. You see, the point is, the basic unit of civilization is family life. Basic unit of a nation is family life. A nation that has a strong family values and family life will be a strong nation. You see, all the big corporations today, they are headed by Indians today.
Yeah.
Google or whatever.
True.
Now you see, if you go into details, they all have been brought up in very stable homes,
100%. Yeah.
which the lot of Western counterparts are lacking. Because now what is happening in India happened 50 years back, started 70 years back in West.
Okay.
So these leaders, they come from very stable double parents family. Very stable, because what a child brought up, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So when I spoke of sacrifice just few minutes back, is sacrifice for the sake of civilization, sacrifice for the sake of children, sacrifice for the sake of your nation, for the sake of God. So what they did was, these people, they are very stable. One who is brought up with love. There are again research papers on the brain of child who is loved and unloved child. Both the brains are examined. There are research, tons of research. You Google. So these people were brought up in stable homes, affectionate homes. And now we will face this problem. When children come from broken homes, violent homes, they will not be proper citizens. The West, those feral, there is a term called feral children now.
Okay.
who are running wild. There are gangs in UK from 6 to 12. And they are running wild and committing crimes. They are parents' helpline for the violent children. Parents are seeking help to protect from their own kids, 8-year, 10-year-old violent kids. The helpline for parents.
So sad.
So point is, your country will go to dogs if you don't have, because they are running. What kind of, you require anything, now, why you drive through these great American cities and you see miles and miles of drug addicts,
Yes.
They are broken homes, basically,
Why are we aping the West blindly then?
And then you go to, there are in California, many places, big showrooms are shutting down because of shoplifting. They just hordes of youngsters, they come, they loot, walk away with each one with $1,000. So you just Google up how many showrooms are shutting their shops. How many brands are shutting because it's not, they are unable to, they get looted. So that is Varna Sankara. That's Gita first chapter. That was Arjuna's concern. So we are actually to save the country. That is and that is what is somewhat you can be, as you said, the goal is to become happy. Nobody can become happy without some love and affection and some meaningful human interaction. So you may deal with 1,000 gadgets. So people are now with everything, good job, good money, but they have to numb themselves by drinking and drugs, because that warm feeling of sitting together, eating together, interacting with family members, friends, social life, community life, this is all becoming history,
Okay, emotionally deprived society.
Yes. Absolutely.
Why then you said the problem today that is in India, the West had the problem 40 years back. Then why are we aping that civilization?
Because we are enamored by it. It looks flashy. It looks, like unintelligent, like these moths, these insects. Anything bright, they go around and fall dead at midnight, So that looks so polished externally. Packaging is so good. You got nice highway, you got nightclubs, and you got scantily dressed women, and it's a flashy cars. But you remove the veneer, the soul, the heart, mind is crying. You Google up. 40% of Europeans, right, everywhere, have mental issues.
Okay.
38% of Americans at some point of that, they have to seek psychiatric help. It's all there on the internet. How many? Because what happens? Deprived of all real longing of the soul is some meaningful interaction, which is they are lacking. So they have to. America is running on antidepressants and intoxicants and drugs. That's how America sleeps. Otherwise, America can't sleep.
Beautiful, Swamiji. So you have addressed the core problem, which is emotionally deprived society. Because ultimately we marry to be emotionally happy. And we don't know how to get that also.
And I tell you, one biggest problem is free mixing. I haven't touched this point so far. Our Bhagavatam says, Nanvagani Pramadanama Grat Kumbha Samapuman. That means that the two sexes, male and female, man and women, they are like butter and fire. When you have both them together in close proximity, the butter melts. And the too much of melting butter can actually end up extinguishing the fire also. Okay. Butter will actually inflame the fire. But too much if you pour at one time, it will extinguish also. So point is, you are looking at trouble. This is a Western, if you see earlier civilization, they have observed some separation of sexes.
Yes.
Considering this problem.
100%.
But today this is considered uncivilized. And actually, they will say we are uncivilized. We say they are uncivilized. Where you make that's called sexism. So you see the result now. So many crimes, so many murders and so many rapes, so many, so every crime has that some affair angle, to it.
I don't know of the crimes, but definitely free mixing has got a lot of extramarital affairs now.
Extra emotional traumas and dramas and, so much of things are happening because of this free mixing,
And that's definitely one of the...
So much people suffer when, when you are involved with some he or she,
Yeah.
Then so much drama happens in life. Anybody can see,
Yeah. This is also one of the reasons for divorces.
So civilized ways, okay. As like in animal kingdom, one needs a partner or a mate. So get them when they come of age, they get married and live peacefully. But now everybody is mixing here. Naturally, they'll be there. They can't invest their faculty in one person when you interact with hundreds of them day in and day out.
Definitely. That's one of the major problems these days.
Yes. And communication, over-communicated word. Earlier, okay, there was young boy wrote a love letter, whatever, and that usually would be caught, would be exposed. It is very easy, but today there is communication available. Discreet communication is available.
Yeah.
They have mobiles, they have chat, there are so many things, social media. That's why today every man is trying to look into his wife's phone. Wife is trying to. So much is happening around. It's just total insanity. What's going on? Either marriages are on the verge of breaking, or which are okay with they are struggling. Or either people are not interested in marriage. Or if they are interested, they are unable to find a suitable partner. They are very qualified boys who are not getting a partner proper. And they are very qualified girls, earning well, very good, everything. They are not finding suitable matches,
Sure. Definitely, Swamiji. So you have answered a lot of questions. Some are very practical. But some are, we need to learn from our older generations few things.
Yes, and
definitely
probably one point I might add to the whole discussion. One thing you have to understand, nobody marries you. Whether you are a boy or girl, nobody marries you. Then
what does it mean?
Then you will ask, then who are they marrying? No, nobody marries you. They marry your job, your properties, your qualification, degrees, or your beauty. So if you are married, what they will look into, how handsome you are, what properties you have, what car you drive, what kind of job. So they are marrying your job, properties, your handsome. They are not marrying you.
Yes.
So point is, this is all a give and take things.
Yeah. Very self-centered.
Yes. The very fundamental thing is actually it's about, it's not the love. If there is genuine love, that is only possible with God. God loves you, but the world loves your property, that's why they love you, because you have so many things, job and degrees and property and a respectable lineage or whatever, your name, fame.
Yeah.
People.
Sure, 100%.
So these all give and take things,
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for your beautiful spiritual insight. So I will end this by saying you have quoted a very beautiful thing. A family who prays together stays together. So I wish most of our viewers understand this and they make a spirituality or a God-centered marriage life in order to preserve their marriage. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.